Today we're starting chapter 4 with section 1. So we're doing 4.1 today. It's all about classifying triangles. We are going to learn 2 ways to classify triangles: by the length of their sides and by the measure of their angles. Any questions? Alright, here's a bunch of vocab words. The only one that I want you to write down is the last one. We'll talk about all of them. You'll get the rest of them in a chart, but the last one is the only one you need to write in your notebooks. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is what it means to be a triangle. I'm sure this is something that you guys are all pretty familiar with. A triangle is a figure that is formed by 3 segments joining 3 non-collinear points. The reason non-collinear is in there is because if you had 3 collinear points, 3 points that formed a line, and you connected them, you wouldn't have a triangle, you'd just have a line. So that's why that's in there. You all know what a triangle is, I assume by now. It's a 3-sided figure. We're going to be working with those all chapter long. First, we're going to talk about how you can classify them using their side lengths. So there's 3 different ways depending on the lengths of their sides. If all the sides are the same, it's equilateral. If 2 of the sides are the same, it's isosceles. If none of the sides are the same, it's called a scalene. Have you heard these words before? Good. All right. By angles, there's actually 4 ways. If all the angles are the same, it's equiangular. If it's equiangular, it's also equilateral. You'll probably start to notice those 2 go together. If all of the angles are acute, it's called an acute triangle. If there's 1 right angle, it's a right triangle. If there's 1 obtuse angle, it's an obtuse triangle. And then, of course, you already wrote down vertex. The vertex is a point that joins the 2 sides of the triangle. So like the corners or the pointy parts of the triangle, that's the vertex. Any questions? Okay, the reason I did not have you write all those definitions down is I think it's a little easier when it's presented in this format. So I do want you to write this down. So this is classifying by sides. So make sure you get the title, know that this is classifying by sides. And then you need all 3 titles: equilateral triangle, isosceles triangle, scalene triangle. You need all 3 pictures, and then you need the descriptions as well. So 3 congruent sides, 2 congruent sides, no congruent sides. So like I said, very similar to writing down the definition. I just think this is a little bit easier to understand. You'll have a similar chart for measure by angle as well. Yep, you should draw the triangles, put the description and the title of each. Make sure on these that you are paying close attention to the directions. This one says by sides, so you shouldn't have like acute or obtuse or anything in this one. Sides are just scalene, isosceles, and equilateral. So which one do you think for A? Scalene. Why do you think scalene? None of the sides are the same. If none of the sides are the same, it's a scalene triangle. What about B? How many are the same? 3. If all 3 sides are the same, what do we call it? Equilateral. Good. And C, these 2 are the same. So if 2 sides are the same, what do we call it? Isosceles. Good. Any questions? No questions? All right, here's some more examples. Again, we're doing it by sides. I'd like you to give these a shot as you're drawing them. I think classifying by sides is fairly easy. So give it a shot. We'll talk about what you've all come up with in about a minute or two. These don't take too long. All right, number 1, what do you guys think? Isosceles, good. 2 sides have the same measure, so this is isosceles. Number 2. They're all the same. Equilateral, good. All right, number 3. Are any of them the same? Yeah, if none of them are the same, it's scalene. The same thing actually happens in number 4. None of them are the same, so it's also scalene. What questions do you guys have? None? All right, next we're going to talk about how to classify them by angles. So you've heard all these words before when we were reading through the definitions, but now I want you to actually get them into your notebooks. So again, a nice little chart. Make sure that somewhere in your notes you have that this is how you classify by angles. So if you want to write it right above the chart like that, if you want to make it a big heading, that's fine, but make sure it gets in there somewhere. You should have the title of each triangle, an example of each triangle, and then the description so you don't get confused about what you're looking at. All right, I'll give you a few minutes to get these down, and then we'll look at some examples. All right, so now we're just doing angles. On your homework, you actually have to do angles and sides in the same examples, but on your notes, they're all separate, so we'll just stick with the directions. What would you call A? Yeah, it's a right triangle. If it has just one right angle, it's actually not possible for them to have more than one. So if they have one right angle, it's called a right triangle. Good. What about B? It's a what? Equiangular. Good. We'll actually learn on Wednesday that if it's equiangular, it's also equilateral. You'll probably start to notice the pattern before then. So there you go. I ruined your surprise. What about C? They're all what type of angle? Acute. So it's an acute triangle. Good. Any questions on these first three for classifying by angle? Alright. Just like last time, I want you to practice these on your own. So sketch these triangles real quick. See if you can come up with how to classify it by angle. And then we will talk about it in, let's say, 2 minutes. I think it's for the whole presentation. So this is the 4th slide of examples. But it's the 2nd for the angles. So you can really number it. Well, I'd stick with the way I number it because that's how I number it on the homework or the notebook quizzes. So just so we're all on the same page. All right, what did you come up with for the first one? Equiangular, good. And the second one? This guy gives it away. What? It can't be acute because they're not all acute angles. 120 is too big to be acute. So what is it? Obtuse. Good. Remember, if there's even one obtuse angle, it has to be obtuse. But acute is the answer for the last one. Because those are all less than 90. But they're not all exactly the same. So it can't be equiangular. All right, what are your questions on this? Is this as easy as I'm thinking it is?
Yeah.
Okay, good. One last thing to look at, and it's kind of on the easy side as well. It just helps you practice identifying parts of the triangle. So go ahead and sketch this. We'll talk about exactly what they're asking you for in just a second. Alright, so it's asking us for the side that is opposite that angle. So if you look at angle J, What's the side that's across from angle J? It would be this side, right? We would label that side using both letters, and it's a line segment, so we're going to put a line over it. So that's side LK. Alright, next we want angle K. So what side is opposite angle K? You look kind of like across the triangle. What's this side? LJ, good. And the last one, angle L, is this guy up top, top left. So what side is across from it? Yep, JK. And no, I'm not kidding. Now remember, you said JK, I wrote KJ. It's the same thing. Either order is fine. And that's on all of these. You could do JL if you wanted. You could do KL if you wanted. All the same. What are your questions on this? All right, I'll get you your homework.